Hey everyone. Now that we've talked about monads a little bit, I wanted to introduce one final piece of Haskell syntax that you're guaranteed to run into if you continue on programming in Haskell. We saw in class that we can use the ideas of the bind and then operators to chain together values of certain types, such as maybe or stack up or even IO. This pattern of chaining is considered so fundamental that it actually has its own piece of special syntax. As a warm-up, let me remind you of the echo function that we ended off with in class. Let me load this file. And if I evaluate echo, it waits for me to put in a name, and then it produces that string twice as output. Please ignore the extra characters over here. This was just a consequence of me pressing delete. The implementation of echo uses our two favorite operators. Bind, which takes in an IO action, gets the result, and uses it to create a new IO action. And then, which just executes two IO actions in sequence, one after the other. What I'm going to show you now is Haskell's syntactic sugar for actually hiding the use of these two operators because they occur so frequently in our code. And this special syntactic sugar is called do notation, and it works as follows. I'm going to enclose the entire block of code, these 3 lines, inside a do block. Let me just make sure I'm using tabs instead of spaces, as we talked about in class. Now, inside do blocks, special syntax is allowed to replace the use of bind and then. Simply put, every new line character becomes a then, which means that if I eliminate this, then because this putString line result and this putString line result are separated by a new line, they are actually combined with a then. And maybe I'll leave a comment here saying the new line character is equivalent to then. But this isn't always the case. New lines also separate actions that are being bound, but this is signaled as follows. We remove the bind operator, we take the parameter and put it in front, getting rid of the backslash, and then this arrow goes like this. And this sequence of syntactic steps to transform a use of the bind operator into this syntax. And by the way, the reason the syntax is the way it is now lines 4, 5, and 6 look very much like programs written in an imperative style. Now, the reason we didn't talk about do notation in this course is because it's often misleading, because it's hiding all of these extra function applications that are actually the most important part to understand. But when you write code in the future, and certainly when you read Haskell code in the future, you'll see a lot of do notation. So it's important that you understand that all expressions written with do notation can be rewritten with the actual monadic functions then and bind. Thanks for watching and have a great day.